Hi, my name is Shawn Selway. I live in Hamilton, Ontario. Following the arrests at the Wet'suwet'en checkpoints, those people called for support rallies across the country. And so, in an attempt to meet some basic points of reconciliation, I decided to go down to the rally. And at the rally, in order to make a broader impact through the media, a slogan was painted on the street. And I participated in painting that slogan on the street. As I was leaving the rally, a couple of police officers came up behind me and told me that I was under arrest for mischief. They kept me for 4 hours. I was questioned pretty intensively by a detective. I refused to say anything to him, and he took me back to my cell. They gave me the conditions of release. They told me that they were keeping my coats, my hat, my gloves, my boots, and my cell phone. At the moment, I am under treatment for cancer. I'm 73 years old. I am in chemo. It seems like a lot for very, very little, but the police have been increasingly repressive over the past few years here in Hamilton. With regard to the Wet'suwet'en solidarity, perhaps they are acting on instructions from elsewhere that might be prompted by the fact that last year there were rail blockades and so on, and the Canadian government appears to be very concerned about that. There's no question that I'm guilty of painting on the street because the reason is so important.
The paint here on Bay Street has been removed. Hamilton police released a statement this afternoon saying they began an investigation and at least one person has been arrested with mischief.
So, why was I there? I'm a 73-year-old guy, not in the best of health. Why was I down there that Sunday afternoon? This is a photograph that's probably 65 years old now. It's of my father, my Uncle Charles, myself, and my sister at Kanawake. And at that time, the residential school system was still quite active, busily destroying lives. And the general idea in Canada was that Indigenous culture was going to be a thing of the past. It was continuing to fade away, even though there were struggles going on at that time still. I went on to write a book about the mass medical evacuation of Inuit tuberculosis patients here to the Hamilton Sanatorium during the 1950s. When I wrote the book, all of the background research that I did for it really made me aware for the first time of the, just the enormity of the harm that has been done over many generations. And so it is time for every Canadian to step up and affirm that reconciliation must occur. That means that Indigenous rights must be recognized, that Indigenous culture must be recognized, that in order for Indigenous culture to be fostered by Indigenous people, they require the resources to do so. That means land, and that means rights to all the resources over the land that have been taken from them over many generations. Whether those pipelines should go or not It's not my business to say, nor the Canadian government's. It is the business of the Wet'suwet'en people. The Crown has recognized that this is unceded territory. It is not part of Canada. You do not have the right to go onto those lands without the permission of the people who are living there. We have had so many commissions and so many studies. And finally, when graves were discovered earlier this year, it finally seemed to penetrate the broader population. People claim to be in favor of reconciliation. But when you look at the individual moments when reconciliation should occur, here at the Six Nations, down east at the fisheries, out west in the Wet'suwet'en lands, you do not see that reconciliation occurring. You do not see the recognition of the equality and the rights of Indigenous people. We all ought to be showing up at these rallies when we are asked to do so by Indigenous people. Believe me, you will feel much better than reading a newspaper about more dead children being found somewhere.